Felicity and welcome back to another video. And ever since quarantining, I have been obsessed with BuzzFeed quizzes, which is probably not the healthiest thing, but it is fun. And I mean, what else do we have to do other than determine what crossover between the Disney princess and the Harry Potter character we are, right? So, no harm done. But today I thought I'm gonna use this obsession for something more productive, as, for example, reading. So I've got a BuzzFeed quiz to determine what book I should read next. The quiz is called "This Tattoo Test Will Determine What Book You Should Read Next." So I'm gonna screen record me taking this quiz, and I'm trying to put it somewhere on the screen with all of my technical skills. And yeah, let's get started. So pick a literary tattoo. I'm gonna pick the Deathly Hollow sign because I actually have it as a tattoo, so that makes sense. Which Disney ink would you prefer? Oh, I like the Mulan one. It's a bit big, but I think it's the most beautiful from all of them. Pick a tiny tattoo. I like the cat. Which watercolor tattoo speaks to you? Alright, so I already had a Harry Potter themed one, so I think I'm gonna go with a burning tree. Pick a Harry Potter tattoo. Alright, I like the Lumos one. So, The Good Girl is what I should read next. The novel captured and kept my attention, but the ending, down to the very last word, blew me away. No other book has ever left me so speechless. Curiouser added. Well, I have no idea what this is about, but I will read it. So I'm going to, I think I downloaded it as an ebook because my bookshop probably doesn't have it here, and I don't really want to waste any time. So I'm going to download it and I'll start it, and I'll keep you updated on how I like it and give you my final thoughts at the end of the video. Alright, so it's about 2 days after I've done the quiz, and I have officially finished The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. I'm gonna read you the back of the book, so you have an overall idea of what it is about before I start my rant, I guess. I've been following her for the past few days. I know where she buys her groceries, where she has her dry cleaning done, where she works. I don't know the color of her eyes or what they look like when she's scared, but I will. Born to a prominent Chicago judge and a stiff-legged socialite wife, Mia Dennett moves against the grain as a young inner-city art teacher. One night, Mia enters a bar to meet her on-again, off-again boyfriend. But when he doesn't show, she unwisely leaves with an enigmatic stranger. With his smooth moves and modest wit, at first Colin Thatcher seems like a safe one-night stand, but following Colin home will turn out to be the worst mistake of Mia's life. Colin's job was to adopt Mia as part of a wild extortion plot and deliver her to his employers. But the plan takes an unexpected turn when Colin suddenly decides to hide Mia in a secluded cabin in rural Minnesota. Evading the police and his deadly superiors, Mia's mother, Eve, and Detective Gabe Hoffman will stop at nothing to find them. But no one could have predicted the emotional entanglements that eventually caused this family's world to shatter. An addictively suspenseful and tautly written thriller, The Good Girl is a propulsive debut that reveals how even in a perfect family, nothing is as it seems. So the website I got the book off actually said something along the lines that people who enjoyed the book You by Caroline Kepnes / TV show by Netflix would enjoy this book too. So BuzzFeed was right about the genre because it was called a psychothriller, and I'm absolutely addicted to psychothrillers. I really love them if they're well written. If they're badly written, it's an entire different story. And this book was, well, something to put it mildly. It wasn't necessarily bad. It was just like a roller coaster, really. It was it's written in 3 different perspectives. Eve, the mother, Colin, the abductor, and Gabe, the detective. Which, well, you could do, but I think I didn't necessarily need the detective point of view. Also, it's written in like 2 parts. It's before and after. Before not meaning before the abduction, but before Mia returns, and after meaning after Mia has returned back home. So that I really liked. I really liked how that was like distinguished, because it kind of reminded me of Behind Closed Doors or The Flight. And I really enjoyed that because it gives you insight in both perspectives simultaneously. I really enjoyed this, but as I said, I didn't really need the detective's perspective. And in the beginning, I really loved this book. I was like, okay, this is going to be a great read. I'm going to enjoy this. Thank you, BuzzFeed. But during like the middle part, like from page 40 to 160, so the majority actually, I found it rather dull, and it really took me a while to continue this part because I really couldn't pick it up, because I don't know, it was so draining, like very slow paced, and that wasn't necessarily like in a bad way. It was still well written, but during this part I just wondered what the point of this book was. When you have a psycho thriller, you kind of have to have a plot, I think, and if it doesn't really have a plot, or if the plot doesn't really make sense, it can easily become something else. And due to the focus of these 3 people / 3 plots, it was hard to find like the point. And also in the beginning you don't really get why Colin decides to not give Mia to the people who wanted to pay him for abducting her. And this kind of came very subtly in the last chapters of his point of view, and I would have liked it better probably if the entire book would have just been his and her mother's perspective, because they really added something to it. Like they were necessary somehow, if that makes sense. But again, I don't know why I'm ranting on the detective perspective so much, but I really didn't really care for it. But like what it is about, as I said, there was this kind of time where I thought the plot was unnecessary and where it could have just been easily resolved, because I didn't get why Colin would keep her. Like, he didn't give her to these people, which was fine, but why did he stay with her? This could have been easily resolved, but like towards the end it did make sense why he didn't, and I think he just didn't want to admit it himself. But I mean, it does have Stockholm Syndrome in it, and that was like in the end probably the part I enjoyed most. I don't know, I'm weird like that, but I really enjoy Stockholm Syndrome, although I do not think it's like a good idea to fall in love with the person who kidnapped you. But well, it's a book, so I think it's okay to enjoy it. So that was like the plot in the end. It became more of a romance than a psycho thriller in the end, I think. So it kind of shifted, which wasn't necessarily bad, but then in the end was like really not satisfying like at all. I didn't like the end, and also like in the very end, like the epilogue, in the epilogue there's this entire plot twist that made even less sense. I don't know why, but this plot twist annoyed me so much, because at first I really liked Mia, but in the end I just really disliked her, because she could have easily solved this entire situation with just a sentence, and that just in the end that just annoyed me, because so much has happened because of this, and she could have just easily changed the outcome. And I don't know, that was like the last straw, I guess. So, as much as this review, this book was kind of a mess. It was a terrible mess, really, because it did have a line, like you could see the red yarn in it, but it wasn't consistent, and there was so much happening and so many different plots, as I said, and so many different focuses that you, like, in the middle, as I say, lose interest and then just regain interest from certain perspectives. Like, in the end, I really only enjoyed Colin's perspective, while I didn't really mind the mother's, but I didn't have to have it. Like, it was really sad, like, reading it, but I think I would have preferred if there would be, like, if there were separate books, like the journey of the mother, because I think the mother is an entire character for herself, and I think she definitely deserves her own story. So I would have preferred if the author, like, split it up and would have been like, okay, I'm gonna write this, like, it's two parts, maybe one part from the from Colin's perspectives and the other one from Eve's. I think that would have worked, I guess, and I would have enjoyed that probably better. And I think I would probably have picked up both. Or I think you can, I mean, I guess you could have continued doing this Eve Colin perspective in this book, which I also did really enjoy. I kind of enjoyed that it wasn't Eve and Mia perspective, because it was like something different. But I think overall you could have done it a bit better, and it was hard to follow because you have these gap chapters in between. It was hard to follow the line between what's happening between Mia and Colin, because there's so much happening in between. It was really hard to actually realize when these two connect in a way, and that just didn't really come, and I found that really, really sad. So in conclusion, to conclude this mess of a review, I gave this book on my story graph like 3.75 out of 5 stars, because in the end I really enjoyed the love story between Mia and Colin, but there was this entire gay plot I found unnecessary. It was a bit messily written, and I didn't like the ending. So these were like my minus points. But all in all, I found it like a good read, and I think if you like psycho thrillers, I guess you could read it. I wouldn't really say that it's quite like You, because it really isn't at all, actually. I didn't get why people would compare to that, but okay. To each their own, I guess. But yeah, so that was my final thoughts on The Good Girl. So in conclusion, would I let BuzzFeed pick a book for me again? I guess we have to give BuzzFeed credit that they knew what kind of genre I liked, although I really like every genre, so that wasn't really hard to guess. But I do really love psycho thrillers, so I give BuzzFeed a plus for that. I guess there could have been better books to be recommended, but I'm not necessarily upset about the book I've read. So I probably would read another book that BuzzFeed has recommended to me. So all in all, I think this experiment was a success, and I hope you enjoyed that, and maybe want to do that yourself or want to try it out or something. And maybe you found my review of The Good Girl so good that you think, oh, maybe I should read that book because it sounds like something I would read. Then please do go ahead and enjoy yourself. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful weekend, and I do hope that I see you in my next video. Bye!